Hello, we are back. It is game week 24, the first double game week of the season, and it is episode 65 of FPL Apprentice, still the only podcasting series that delves into the mind of one of the greatest players to ever play the game, former FPL World number one, Mr. Matthew Corbridge. Matt, how are you?
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Decent week from a FPL point of view. Could have had it all, but I think it kind of ended up a little bit muted, but a decent one. But looking forward to the first double game week of the season,
First
if I'm
double.
not mistaken.
First double.
So yeah, super,
Correct.
super, super exciting. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, I lost my head a little bit with FPL over the last game week. You got many messages of me flipping tables, which was fun. A lot of things happened that annoyed me, which I'll come on to. So yeah, I've been a bit annoyed with it in the last couple of game weeks. I was in a
Mate,
really nice position about 50k one I a couple about 4 or 5 weeks ago,
yeah.
and I've just been dropping
I mean,
dropping ever since. So just outside 200k now.
I think there's a week where there's a bit of a break. Maybe we do a bit of a mid-season review, see where it all went
True.
wrong. But yeah, mate, that's probably a good place to
Look,
start, right? So your week, how did it go, and why were you flipping tables?
okay, let's start. Let's bring it up. Before we do, just little new thing we've thrown in for anybody watching on YouTube. Little coming up on today's episode. So we will obviously cover game week 23, our team reviews, but we're going to be talking about Chips, Everton, and Liverpool. We're going to be talking about the midfield minefield that is there because there's so many great midfield options, as well as revealing our teams for game week 24 as always. But game week
An
23, Matt,
agenda. Have you been on a project
agenda.
management course?
I've been on a presentation workshop. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them it, and then tell them what you've told them. All of that
It's
stuff.
working. I'm loving
But
the structure already. I'm loving the structure. It's just working.
but but yeah, I mean, you know what? Saturday was okay. It wasn't great. I'll start with my transfers. I did two. I moved out Sanchez because I was fuming with him because he just concedes all the time. I don't think he filled himself with any glory against Man City. Two
Yep.
mistakes, two goals conceded, and then Chelsea lost the game as a result. But he got 2 points. Allison also got 2 points, and it was the start of my frustration. I obviously had Trent and Allison, double Liverpool clean sheet wiped out in the 90th minute. That was a real kick. That would have been another 8 points that I'd have had.
It,
Even
it
nine. I
was the
think
guy
Trent
who
was on
scored it as well.
bonus.
It was Reeves who's been on like third on loads of
Yeah,
people's bench all year. Like so, I think at the time, I think that was the first shot that Liverpool conceded, right? So I think they kind of conceded a few more shots then, like just before the final whistle. But that was a blow, right, from Greaves of all
massive.
people.
And he's tiny. He's a small. He's not even a tall player. So and off a header. So that was the first start of my
Yeah,
frustration. Alongside, I sold Saliba.
yeah.
It was mainly for money. That's why Mikalenko came in. But I'd have benched Saliba anyway, so that doesn't
Hmm.
really matter. He'd have been on my bench. So my two transfers, got me a net gain of 0 points. So nothing happened there. Um, a couple of ups. Trent got an assist. That was always nice. Didn't quite hold on to the clean sheet. And then Gabriel did get a clean sheet on a bonus. So I've got to be happy with that. But yeah, the downs, mate. Wrong captain choice. I can't be too frustrated with that because Salah's not exactly a bad pick. But the
Yep.
parts that really got me, this is where the tables got flipped, right? Mbumo, you must have been loving life, mate. The guy takes a pen, misses it, and Guy decides to approach on the box, so he gets to retake it and score.
Well,
That was a
I mean,
7 point swing.
well, it's not all like that. So I mean, they were encroaching, right? So yeah, obviously a little bit fortunate, but I think he lost 2 bonus points actually because he apparently missed a. Do you know when you miss a big chance, you apparently like
Oh,
you
nice.
lose like
That
three
doesn't get
bonus
wiped.
points, right? So he had a ghost missed chance at the end. Apparently, that's what like some of the like more
Oh, nice.
geeky people like found out saw next, and it was like yeah. So could have been worse. Could have been a 9 point haul, but yeah, it
Could have
was it
been.
was pretty it
Could
was
have
pretty
been.
lucky. It was pretty lucky. Yeah.
That was a that was a frustrating one. And then my Sunday, I had quite a few players to play Sunday. Rogers 1 point, so that started annoying me. Bruno Fernandez 3 points. Sarr 2 points. Pedro 1 point. But the killer on Sunday was Robinson. On for a clean sheet, One shot from Martinez, deflected, goes in. He conceded from expected goal involvement of 0.15. That was a
Beautiful.
kick. Beautiful for you, terrible
It
for
was,
me.
it was big for me. What your move? So again, you went Becker and Allison. It's
Yeah.
funny that somehow some like kind of like some of their names are different fans. Yeah. So you went Allison Becker and Mikolenko in for Saliba and Sanchez. Any regrets for those moves, or are you happy with how that position?
No, I'm okay because it was a long-term thing. It wasn't just short-term. And I'm going to be playing Becker this week because he's got a double. I'm going to be playing Mikolenko. So I'm not regretting it. It also means if I want to roll a transfer, I can rather than needing to bring in another Everton player. I've got one.
I think it works. So you got no Gakpo regret. I think obviously he got what was it, 2 goals and an assist, so 16 points.
Well, that is quite nice. Obviously, it wouldn't have been a bad move. It's compounded by Chris Wood mistake, right? If it had gone Cunha to Chris Wood could have became Gakpo very easily. The downside to having Delap and Pedro is it's about another 2 million to get to Gakpo, which I haven't got because it's tied up in Bruno Fernandes.
When we rewind stuff, that's going to be hopefully not season critical, but like that. It's just funny when you make a little decision like weeks and weeks ago, it just pushes you in a different pathway. So that Wood pathway that a few people went on, Cunha about 6 weeks ago to Wood. People went to Wood to Gakpo, really nice pathway. Would you say Gakpo's the third best Liverpool option now after Salah and Trent?
I would. I absolutely would. I know he went in Europe and Diaz, Salah, Nunes all stayed at home. But I think he used to play for them, right? So I think he went for emotional reasons. He only played 52
Really,
minutes, so he got a big, I think so. And he got a massive rest. He went off in the 52nd minute, scored his goal. Obviously, it was a penalty, and granted, if Salah's on the pitch, Salah's taken the pen, but still got a goal. But I think he starts. I still think he plays both. He's a minute's risk in terms of he'll come off early. Maybe he'll get 60 or 70 minutes, but yeah, I think he's starting both the games. Do you think he's the third best?
No, I would. It's team dependent, right? So different team structures, it means that different players are better. But I think kind of all in, I'd say he's the third best option. So yeah, kind of like fair play to people who've gone that way. Probably if I didn't have a third Liverpool player and I was keen to get one, I'd be targeting Gakpo if it fits my structure. I think as you said, I think over this coming game week, the 2 fixtures in game week 24 for Liverpool, Bournemouth away and Everton away, I'd say I'd expect them about get 120 to 130 minutes between the two. So starting but coming off early. So yeah, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. So like we shall see. Any other reflections, mate, on just the game week in itself, not necessarily about
game
your
week
team?
in general? Yeah, so I mean, Bournemouth continue to play well.
Yeah,
look very impressive. Brentford, I'm kind of missing not having a Brentford player. I know Mbumo got lucky, but I hate watching him play because he seems to punish me every time. But Bournemouth are the ones, and we'll come on to the fixture ticker shortly. They've got a nice run of fixtures on the horizon, so I think I'm going to probably be bringing in at least one of their midfield options. The problem is there's 3 really good ones, which we'll no doubt touch on next week's episode ahead of their fixture swing.
I think similar themes to previous weeks. Yeah, Bournemouth obviously super impressive, beating Forest 5-0, but they're an outstanding team and probably have the 3 best FPL players at the moment. Right, we'll talk about them later, but Kluivert, Dango, and Semenyo all kind of like outstanding, like kind of great underlying stats to back it up, which obviously we're big fans of. Like, is it luck or is it actually deserving of kind of what the underlying players? Definitely deserving of it. What else happened? Spurs, still a mess, right? I think so. Like, nothing new there, but like, hey, conceded 2 goals to kind of Leicester. I think they're super leaky. I think another observation for me, which I think impacts both of us, and it's a difficult player to own, right? I think Manchester United versus Fulham, it was a terrible, terrible game. I think I saw a post on X saying that it was like the lowest collective expected goals this year for a Premier League game. Like, they were both so poor. United were a bit blunt, right? Fulham were as well. But yeah, as a Fernandes owner, is like I've said it before in the
Frustrating.
year, right? Is that he's a great player. I'd say probably in the top 5 in the league, honestly. But he's just surrounded by really poor players.
Yeah.
So we've got a relatively expensive player who is hard to remove because of 95 minutes every game and on penalties and set pieces and can kind of do amazing things. But is he blocking a Brentford or
I
a second Bournemouth midfielder? So it's tough.
mm,
It's
I
tough.
think I'll be selling him. I know what, it feels horrible because he's got Palace this week. I know we're kind of jumping to game week 24 review, but he's got Palace this week. But I am on selling Fernandez, and I'll tell you who later on.
Um,
Uh,
but
but
yeah,
yeah, I think I might get rid.
interesting stuff though. I think like kind of overall, like a bit more hints around like Liverpool, best Liverpool options, doubling down on midfielders we want to target, like in kind of like um Bournemouth. Yeah, so a few more clues around teams to target. So yeah, interesting one. I'll talk about my team really quick, mate, because like it's quite boring.
Yeah,
Pretty much a grey arrow. So move from 880 rank to 850 overall rank. So yeah, kind of still super uh poor, but kind of like, hey, it's about the journey, right? It's not about ranks.
exactly,
It's about
exactly.
journey. Hence why this is FPL Apprentice and not FPL Journey to 10K. Um,
Like
that target
rebrand.
becomes more and more unachievable for both of us. But like, yeah, it could have been a really good week. There was a few things that just I'm happy overall with my team and the structure, but like, yeah, a few things that it was heading to a really great week. But like, yeah, a couple of different things can happen to prevent that. So yeah, mainly links to my move. So I moved Saliba to Kanate. I was always going to move Saliba as a bit of a cash cow this week, just when I was like
Mhm.
running plans and stuff like that. Yeah, kind of give or take. When I committed a few weeks ago to get rid of um, Solanke for Stewart, which I kind of regret doing because if I had Solanke still, I'd have moved him to Gakpo this week. So it's, yeah, funny that these pathways have knock-on effects week after
Yeah,
week after week. But yeah, I was always going to move Saliba to Canate. Obviously, Saliba had 9 points. Canate had 5, but it was looking really good. Like 90
yeah.
minutes since our Liverpool game, I had 2 defenders on clean sheets, 2 bonus each.
And
Both had
assists.
assists, right? So I think it was looking
Yeah.
really good. Massive green arrow, and obviously they conceded that goal. So um, thought process was there. I think the Liverpool defense looked solid. So I'm kind of happy with having them there. But it seems to be a bit of a trend this year for me. I think to you for you as well is that picking teams that defensively sound, but they just find a way of conceding like a random goal from the one
Yeah.
shot they concede. Midfielder, obviously, midfield like happy with Mbumo, like very happy. I think he's moving into must own territory again, given the fixture run that Brentford have got. Obviously, I can get why people got rid of him a while back, 5, 6, 7 games weeks ago, because he had a really poor run. But like, yeah, he's kind of
Mm.
got good online stats again. Yeah, my midfield like Sarr, to a lesser extent Fernandez are like looking at like problems then. Up front, yeah, I've got that reliance at the moment because I've got a Stewart as a permanent bench player. João Pedro, who has been
See,
really bad. Like his underlying
yeah.
stats have been really bad. I think it's like his um like for a significant time, his like non-penalty expected goal involvement's been like 0.1 per 90. So not getting anything from him. So he's proving a frustration, as is Saar.
Yeah.
Fernandez have some regrets, but yeah, the rest of the team generally happy with it. So yeah, can I've mainly because I had Mbumo, yeah, I got 64 points versus your 54. So uh, within 60 points of you, big mountain to climb, but
Catching,
we'll see.
catching, slowly but surely. Yeah, with
Oh,
Pedro,
I
I thought
should say
might
there
get
will be something.
better.
I will say, of course, this was the first week assistant manager could be played, right? And if someone had played
Yeah,
it on Moyes, they've got 19 points from 1 week only. So that's, yeah, you can see the logic. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but we were talking about the logic of targeting assistant manager on lower ranked teams so they can potentially beat or draw teams that are 5 places above to get those kind of super bonus points. Yeah, clean sheet and goals. Yeah, wow, you got 19 points in one match. Right, so it shows the
yeah.
power, but
Big
also the
swing.
swinginess of that chip. I think that's going to
Yeah,
upset quite a lot of people just because it's going to have a hell of a lot of
yeah,
like randomness about it. But like, yeah, first time
absolutely.
in history that we could play it, and it was like, yeah, wow, you get 19 points already from
Cheating.
um, Moyes, right?
I hate the chip. I hate it. But hey, we have to play it. Now we're talking about it.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. This is the first week you can play it, right? But if you could have played it last week, Moyes would have got 19. So yeah, stand correct. Anyway,
but whilst we're talking on chips, we may as well have a look at this, Matt, because you made a very good point to me, and it was looking at if you've got all your chips left. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game weeks in which it's not just a single, so it's time to maybe start using them. Is it a must for this game week?
I'd caveat potentially. There's because we don't know this, right? There's only one double game week we know, which is 24, which we're all planning for, right? So we think because of like how FA Cup, League Cup is structured and like lack of randomness, right, this year, and no other like postponements that need to be scheduled. We think that the rough schedule is going to be 2 blank game weeks, and then after this one, 2 double game weeks, right? So we think that's the case, but like there might be postponements, right? So I think we'll always cancellations that have to be rescheduled. So we'll add that caveat. But like historically going back almost like 3-4 years, because we've had some kind of really weird seasons, right? You have to go pre-COVID probably to 2019 for a traditional back end of the year. This would be the traditional kind of schedule: 2 double game weeks, 2 kind of blank game weeks aligned with FA Cup and League Cup rescheduling. So your question, mate, was: is it essential to use a chip this week? Yeah.
Yes.
I would say, in my opinion, yes. Right, because and the reason being, what we got a bench of triple captain, bench boost free here, assistant manager, them kind of the kind of wild card, right? You can't play any of them concurrently in the same week. I think those chips, to maximize their potential, you want to be aiming for double game weeks or blank game weeks to make the most of them. Obviously, the free hit is a bit different, so you'd be aiming for a blank game week potentially there, right? Reason being, just gives you double the chance, right? Increases your probability times 2, right? FPL is a game of randomness, right? Like a lot of us think about it, rolling those dice, right? If you're rolling the dice twice, not exact science, right? But you get twice as much chance to get points, right? So I think it makes a lot of sense to target it, right? So if you don't use a chip this week, you're going to run out of chances to use it essentially, right? So I think for me, I think it's triple captain or assistant manager, honestly.
This week,
if you haven't used a chip, otherwise you're just going to run out of game weeks to use it. And you've got a nice little graphic here. I think there's obviously a double game week in 24. We think there's a blank game week in double game in game week 29. That will be dictated by League Cup final. So could be, I think Liverpool and Newcastle are looking like odds on of missing it. They're kind of like fixtures. And then I think Spurs, Arsenal, Palace, there are other teams that are like at risk of having a blank there. So there's one there. Then there's probably going to be double game weeks for FA Cup kind of rearrangements in 33. Potentially a blank game week linked to FA Cup in 34 and a potential double game week in 36, right? So really, I think you've got to use it. Otherwise, you're gonna be forced to use chips in single weeks, which I just think is that cheesy word, not optimal play. Run out of time.
I don't mind a bit of cheese.
Don't
mind a bit of cheese, mate.
It's a terrible phrase, isn't it? It's a terrible phrase, but I think it's just sensible play. So I'll tell you about my rough pathway at the moment, right? Just to bring so I have 24 triple captaining in Salah. Now, I think it's the best double game week, but I'm not going to overthink it. It's the best player for the best team who's fit, playing 2 okay fixtures, right? So I'm going to embrace that and can just make the most of it. And assistant manager, I want to get a bit more of a feel about it, right? So I'm going to go Salah. I think a lot of people are doing it. Assistant manager is popular. I think at the last time noting, it was over 400,000 people have activated, so it is super popular. I'd be going there, like for sure. Just the question is whether you go Moyes or Slot. Maybe Moyes just to kind of gamble and get the maximum points. So there's a bit of a tactic. So obviously plays for 3 weeks of Moyes for 24 and then shift into Areola
Yeah, you'd have to shift it because
That's
Moyes,
it.
other than Liverpool in the next 3 game weeks, only everybody else is within 5 spaces of Everton.
Yeah, but I think there's a nice little Bournemouth run after, like, easy fixtures, and they're
Nice.
scoring a lot of goals. So there's a shift at Bournemouth potentially for 25 and 20,
Play for the
26. So
6-point
I think
win
that's
and hope there's a
I think
lot of
that's
goals.
I think that's a tactic. But yeah, I'm triple captain for 24.
Mm.
Like I said, I'm using chips to target doubles and blanks with the free hit as a methods to navigate. It's a free pass with doubles for me. I think 29, I can navigate quite easily with free transfers, right? I think the people that got to
Yeah,
be wary, we don't know who's going to be blanking, but it looks like probability suggests that like Liverpool and Newcastle will be two highly owned players, only highly owned teams. Palace would be linked to that as well. I'm just going to check what's
yeah.
scheduled now just to make sure I'm talking right. Yeah,
Liverpool,
Villa,
Villa.
uh, Palace, Palace, Newcastle, right? So fairly owned teams, right? But like some people are stacked out on Newcastle, some people are stacked out on Liverpool. I reckon I've got enough time to navigate it, so I reckon I can navigate easily with free transfers. The curveball is
Yeah,
like money invested in these players, right? A lot of people got a lot of money in Salah and Trent and Isak and may not want to transfer them out. So that's a lot of
yeah,
money on your bench. And also probably the best not triple captain, the best captaincy option, that 29, with Salah being out. Could be Palmer, but if you're a free hit, you could put some money in quite a tasty option, Haaland at home to Brighton.
not bad.
Not bad, right?
Oh,
Not
not
bad,
bad at
given like
all. It's with a
Palmer's away to Arsenal that week, right? So I
oh
think,
god.
sometimes finding the captaincy is like key with this. So I think it's an interesting option. So I'm not committing yet, but I can navigate it without a free hit.
Yeah,
But I might go there. So that's cool. I think there's a wild card window, game week 30, 31, 32. We'll see what happens, right? I don't think it depends, like, have you dead ended your team into 29? How many transfers you got, blah, blah, blah. But like, I think there's a window 30, 31, 32 where it feels nice to wild card. Then, okay, I've got flex. I'm flexing. I've got flex and I'm fluid with this, but 33, if there's a double game there, feels like a bench boost time. Blank after that feels like a free hit time. And then the running with the final double game week 36, assistant manager there, and then 37, 38. And then I think we'll have a good view of teams that have got a lot to play for versus teams that might be mid-table where they're not playing for anything, right? So I think loosely
yeah,
this is how I'm planning. And I think I'm just thinking, if you're not using a chip this week, it's not rocket science. You're just running out of chances to use it as at optimal moments. So I think it's got to be
yeah,
triple captain or assistant manager this week. I mean, it looks like you've come to similar conclusions. I've rambled for a bit there, mate, but like it looks
yeah.
like
I
based
have
on your plans here, it's not identical, but very
not
well.
far off.
It's identical bar.
It's not far off.
I put wildcard 31, you
Oh,
put it 30, and it's going to be 30,
yeah.
31, 32 for us, I guess.
I've got another idea as well, which the wild card messes it up, right? So I'm rarely interested in week 30, 31, and 32 playing the chip on Amaron, right? Because United
30,
play Forest City and Newcastle. That's a nice little run of fixtures there. And I know United aren't exactly at their best,
30,
but they drew
30.
with Liverpool. They beat Man City earlier in the season. They drew with Chelsea. They drew with Villa. When they play the bigger teams, they can get results, is the point I'm making. They beat Arsenal in the FA Cup. So they
Yeah,
can
yeah.
get results against these teams. But my issue with playing the assistant manager there, it then kind of forces my hand to play the wild card in the double game week, 33. I could still free it in 34, that's fine. And then come double game week 36, I'd need to understand which teams are playing in 33 and 36, because if they're not the same, wildcarding in 33 doesn't work.
Yeah,
Um,
how you
yeah,
cover yourself up is maximize amount of transfers you got at any given time.
yeah,
So you have
yeah.
optimal
So
flex.
I need to do a lot of rolling.
But there's lots of unknowns. But I think what we do know at this moment is it feels like there's not going to be a huge amount of chances to use all your chips in doubles. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Messi was saying is probably use one this week.
Yeah, and I'll be triple captain, and I've got no interest in playing it on Moyes. No
Yeah,
interest at all. I don't see
I
the major
do like the
benefit
idea
there.
of
But
that late season run. It does feel nice, and the ability to jump between managers during that period. But yeah, looks like we're thinking on the same lines, which is reassuring or concerning. I don't know.
Boring. One or the other.
Boring, yeah, 10 players.
But we touched on this last week, so we'll only touch on it slightly, which is who are the best Everton and Liverpool players. Just two screens with this one. I'm going to show who's in form. Unsurprisingly, Salah and Trent are top for expected FPL points over the last 6 game weeks. And then Gakpo comes in at third place with expected points of 36, and he's scored 43. So he's not exactly overperforming by much at all. He's been very well worth his goals and his assists. But you've got to go down to what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got to go down to 6th to get an Everton player, mate. 5 Liverpool players ahead. And then that's in DA as a stat for you, mate. He's obviously scored 3 times. One was a pen against Brighton. That was the only touch he had in the box the entire game.
Oh yeah,
Make that what you want.
It's promising for him that he's on there. I think 27, 28 expected FPL points the last 6 game weeks. I think that's 3 goals, right? There's 3 shots on target, 3 goals, so it's quite efficient. But I mean, that's you got to take it as it is, right? There's 90-minute person for Everton who could be on penalties, right? If Calvert-Lewin is still out. So in DI, yeah, I can see the appeal. I'm doing that as a good thing. You want to be committed for him for a long time, but going into 24, he's got a floor of 4 points, right? What's he got? He's got a ceiling of 18, right? Just needs to get a goal in each game, right? And it's like, yeah. So I don't hate that for 5.5.
I'm not a fan. I think we're very different opinions on this guy. Just not a fan at all. I think I do. Here's my question for you with him. You're banking a transfer, right? You're getting him in for 24, fine. You probably want to get rid of him in 25 or 26. So you're already booking a -4.
Who would you prefer? Now, obviously, you've gone down a certain pathway. Who would you prefer? Who's that Ipswich clown you got?
The lap.
Yeah,
That's playing Southampton, mate. You wait for that hat trick to come in.
Who would you prefer, in DI, or you prefer Delap?
This game week, Delap. No, I don't know. I don't. But the point is, I'm not banking a transfer with Delap. He's got, he'll sit on my bench. I suppose this guy could sit on my bench as well.
They're the same price.
Yeah, he could sit on my bench as well. For this game week, I'm telling you, Delap. This is when Delap returns my belief. At home to Southampton.
Is a perfectly benchable player. Like, a lot of teams will be going. We've always got Bruno Fernandes as like a bit of a luxury player, 8.3 or whatever he is. You could quite easily have Semenyo, Cliver, Bango there. You've got loads of money there. Like, you can easily bench a 5.5 player, right? So I don't think it's banking a transfer necessarily at all.
Yeah. Okay. And that's why you're the master. I would read that as a definite bank transfer. Are you going to get him? Do you think you'll end up with him? Selling Pedro? Or Stewart?
Well, I've got a few different. I'll talk about pathways, but yeah, I mean, I think I'd consider him. I mean, are we going to do rankings of like top Liverpool players, top Everton ones, or?
Yeah, we can do. I think the top 3 Liverpool speaks for itself. They're the top 3 on the screen: Salah, Trent, and Gakpo. Everton wise,
agree, and like, yeah, very annoyed that I didn't really have that pathway to get to Gakpo. Even if I was moving to like João Pedro on it, was like, yeah, me getting rid of Solanke, that kind of eliminate that option. So I think Gakpo is definitely. I say 4th best is. I say a cross between Alisson and Konate, who's not here because he's been injured, but like he's looking good for his price point. Van Dijk's obviously kind of like 1.4 more, so I put it there. Everton, yeah. Who do you like from Everton, if any?
Nobody. If I'm honest, I mean, they look better. They look better defensively. So for that reason, I'd be looking at Mikalenko because he's 4.3 million. I'd be looking at Pickford because he can get a lot of save points, especially against Liverpool. Attack wise, I've just got no faith in Everton attack wise at all. They seem to. Yeah, I know against Tottenham, Calvert-Lewin did all right. They obviously NDI scored in that game. But Tottenham, we know we've spoken about Tottenham's defence all season. It is in bits. Against Brighton, they looked awful. Other than the pen.
Agree. I think if you go, we'll see injury news, but yeah, we'll assume Calvert-Lewin's out. With him out, I think NDI is the clear option. Unfortunately, for me anyway, because like a midfielder would fit in with my team structure quite nicely. There's no midfielder screaming out, so I think it's a real shame. McNeil is injured. I kind of like, I'd be liking him. And he started the season pretty well, right? But he's like great at crossing, great at set pieces. Yeah, there's no midfield options really. So it's like there's NDI really better. I don't know. I wouldn't really want to go to better really, just because that is banking a transfer, and that seems a bit more like pie in the sky. So it's NDI, but like best options, yeah, Pickford then Mikalenko, then it's NDI. I think Liverpool, yeah, there's a broad range of different options, but yeah, Salah, Trent, Gakpo, Alisson/Konate, depending on structure. Szoboszlai, I think, is an option, right? You would call out his underlying stats. They're getting better and better. Obviously, a nice return. So I don't think it's the ideal of play to have, but team structure-wise, I think could be a nice little.
It's an interesting one, Szoboszlai, because there is games when Jones will play instead. So yeah, he's a bigger minute for his coming Gakpo. Jones is injured at the minute, by the way, which is probably why Szoboszlai is getting pretty much starting every game. But
I would say, I say it's on par. And like, I think there's enough of a gap between the games in 24 that you think the best 11 would play. I think he's in the best 11, whether or not Jones is fit. But yeah, I think he's an option for like people looking for a cheap thing. But what I would say is Everton, Liverpool, obviously, lots of nice options, lots of price-friendly options as well, but they are not the be-all and end-all. There's some very, very good teams that got some nice fixtures this week, but especially going into 25 and whatnot. So I've changed my tune a little bit in terms of just like going all in on these teams. I think I want to be pragmatic and attack 25 onwards as well. Make sure I'm not snookered in a bad position.
Agree. I absolutely agree. And then just to finish off the expected points, very much in the favour of Mo Salah this game week, 13.5 expected, followed by Becker and Trent on 8.5, which is quite nice for me because they're the three players I've got. So they're the top three. Palmer expected in 4th place, and Gakpo in 5th alongside Pickford with 7.5. I think it's undervaluing Gakpo.
0.3 below Van Dijk. That's a shocker.
Yeah. 0.7. I suppose for the save points, he's 0.7 below Pickford, but fair enough.
Keep boys will be higher, aren't they? But like Alisson above Trent is a shocker. I'm sorry. This is the expected points next week for Picks, but like obviously I kind of love the guys there. But I think I think it's a thing that seems, I don't know what the underlying logic is, but like I think there's a few ones I'd be challenging it.
Yeah, I think the Gakpo one's a bit shy. I'd expect Gakpo to do. I know Palmer's got West Ham at home, right? Nice fixture for the guy, but you've got to back on form. You've got to think Gakpo will outscore him over 2 games.
I'd say 7.5 is fair for him, maybe a bit conservative, but give him minutes, 65 minutes. I think give or take that's probably about it. Like obviously we can't be too biased because he scored his first double-digit haul in weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Like so he's not going to do that every single week. I just think that Mikalenko one is an injury.
Yeah, I've got him as well. So hopefully, I'll take 6 points. Well, 7 points rounded up. I'll take 7 points from this game week. Let's as long as the clean sheets against Leicester.
No, it's a good list to be guided by for sure. Like, 13.5. You never getting better than that. There's an expected points haul with Salah up top there. You're never getting that in a single game week. So might as well captain him. There might be a better option later in the year, but you don't know. So
the chips to play
is a good chance, a good option to play.
Well, yeah, to your point, mate, you were talking about you don't want to just be blinded by the lights of the double game week, and that is something that we generally get dragged into. So we thought, let's bring up the fixture ticker. And whilst the defence one's nice, I think a lot of us are looking at attacking options. So I really want to bring up this one. Everton Liverpool at the top, unsurprisingly, because they've got one fixture more than everybody else and not terrible games following it. But Bournemouth and Brentford are starting to fly up this list, mate. Now, Bournemouth have got Liverpool this week, and Brentford have got Tottenham. Not the best fixtures, although the Tottenham defence is a bit dodgy. But after that, look at those next game weeks. So Bournemouth, Southampton, Wolves, Brighton, Tottenham, Brentford. Whereas Brentford have got West Ham, Leicester, Everton, Villa, and then away at Bournemouth, maybe not so easy. But those 4 game weeks, 25, 26, 27, and 28, very nice for both those teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, obviously this is the fixture difficulty ticker according to Fix, and I think what's nice is they split between attack and defense, which is it's kind of quite important to do. Obviously, when you look at the FPL fixture difficulty, when it's like what ranked 1 to 5, it's quite misleading, right? Because it don't matter if your team wins a match. It's like, is my attacker going to score, or does my defender have a probability of a clean sheet? So I think it's important to like view things like that. Like Spurs would be the great example, right? Great fixture to target from an attacker point of view. But the defenders, they could score goals against you, right? It's like classic like 3-2 kind of game, right? Obviously a bit of a stereotype there, but I think it's a nice way of thinking things. As you said, obviously they got Everton, Liverpool top of the ticker, but that's a bit artificially inflated because they got a double game week here on 24. If you forget about that onwards, then let's look at who else is there. Chelsea, Bournemouth, Brentford, Arsenal sneaking out. I think these are very interesting teams to be targeting. And also I think a few of them are guaranteed a game in game week 29, where there's likely to be a blank game because of League Cup. So yeah, I think Chelsea could still bank in 29. It's like, it's a game against Arsenal, but yeah, something to consider. But we'll assume everyone's got Palmer, so there's not much conversation there. And Jackson is interesting, but a little bit expensive. So I think difficult for team structure to kind of push him in. But I think Jackson's a cool player. But yeah, I want to talk about Bournemouth and Brentford, really. I'm kind of really excited about the value in their attacks, the underlying stats attackers have got, and just the wealth of options, right? So obviously going through the run, Bournemouth got Liverpool at home, not great, but Southampton away, Wolves, Brighton, Spurs, Brentford, nice run. Brentford is Spurs at home, nice. West Ham away, nice. Leicester away, nice. Everton home, not too bad. Villa home, not too bad. Bournemouth. So yeah, I think these are really nice runs for some in form teams. So Brentford's an easier option because it's really two guys, right? I know that it seems like you get your Damsgaards and your Norgards,
Shade, is that how it's pronounced?
Shade, what's it? Shade, something like that.
Shade,
I don't think any of them are consistent or nailed enough, right? But it is Umbumo, who I think is an absolute no-brainer for everyone who should be targeting, even from this week onwards. Honestly,
Wissa
and Visser, and Visser, obviously I'm a sucker for penalty takers, but more than that, I'm a sucker for underlying stats. His stats are outstanding through the year, and he's had some outstanding returns. He's one of the top scoring strikers despite having periods out. I think he's over 100 points for the season. He's been doing great every time he plays, right? And I'm not going to be put off the lack of penalties, because penalties, when you look at those stats, they are baked in, right? When you look at those expected goals per 90. So I think Visser is really, really interesting as well, and price friendly, right? He's under 7 million, right? So I think he's kind of really interesting. Bournemouth, I would generally at the moment just love 2 striker positions or 1 striker position, then 6 or 7 midfielders. There's so many good midfielders options, right? So I think you're your big 3, which is no-brainers. Mbumo, Palmer, Salah, right? I think non-negotiables. Then
only 2 spots left.
With regret, I've got Fernandez, but I think kind of really a lot of people got an Eze or something like that. Eze is kind of difficult to move, to be honest, with Palace is down at the bottom. He's on set pieces, but then I think it's a case of not do you get a Bournemouth midfielder, but do you get 2? Yes, which one do you get? And did you get 2? It's not a case of do you get one. It's how many do you get? You quite easily have 2. Super excited about that. A bit frustrated by my structure at the moment. I think it'd be wasteful to get rid of Fernandez to do this, just because transfers are always kind of valuable and it's forcing it. But I've got Sarr at the moment. A Bournemouth midfielder makes hell of a lot of sense for my team. So excited by that run.
Yeah, nice.
What about you, mate? What are you thinking? Same two teams. Bournemouth, Brentford, exciting you? Same players.
Same two teams, but I would happily sell Fernandez. I haven't got Mbumo, right? And I could quite easily sell Fernandez for him, and then that'll free
Yeah,
up
I
money
think
to get
I think
Wissa in easy.
that's worth it. I think you need to get away from your shocking structure, not shocking structure, but like there's all these like cheap-ish players that are kind of
Yeah,
good, but they're all just like rotate. You just need some kind of like play every game bankers there. I think you need Mbeumo.
yeah. So I
Agree.
think I'm going to get Mbumo. Well, we'll talk on it in a bit, but yeah, they're the players for this week. I'm not touching Bournemouth. They're away at home to Liverpool. Okay, I know they're in form, but I won't be getting in any Bournemouth players. I may get two Brentford players. I've got two
Oh,
free
interesting.
transfers. I might end up on Wissa and Mbumo.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Uh, yeah. Again, I don't know whether it's reassuring or concerning, but yeah, something I'm really considering myself. Depending on what pathway I go, this is either a real option or not. But I mentioned before,
Mm.
João Pedro. I'm just hating owning him. Brighton don't appear anywhere on this attack ticker. Vissa, I think, it would be better every single game week of this six-week window. And this is a good window to look at because then we start talking about chips and game week 30 and whatnot. So we don't
Exactly,
want to
wild
stretch it
card.
too long. Like I'm sick
Yeah.
and tired of having to play João Pedro every week, and like I don't even think I want to be rotating them in. So Vissa is like a really interesting option and path into a cheap attacker. I mean,
Yeah.
the other who would you consider from a forward point of view? Just generally, like we'll talk about mids in a second and Bournemouth probably in a
But
second.
general across the entire game.
Yeah, Isaac
Um,
obviously is a banker.
yeah,
We'll say that.
yeah.
Who else do you like? You mentioned Vizza. We both like him. Anyone
Gakpo,
else?
Gakpo, if I could get there,
That's why
he'd
he's
probably
a
be
great
my
option as well because there's a lack of
yeah,
striker options. Right? There's a lot of
yeah.
defender options. There's a lot of midfielder options. So that's why he is nice as well because it's just like who else you can get? Gakpo, yeah, agree.
So, and he's got a double. Wolves are home, Southampton are home coming up.
Yep.
Even Newcastle home. Liverpool seem to score goals against Newcastle. I'll probably
No,
jinx
no,
that now,
I
but they
I
generally do.
agree. I agree.
And then third, mate, third, based. I'd be looking at this, and I don't trust Jackson. Obviously, the Bournemouth striker is out injured for the season, and they're playing a midfielder up front. So I would probably lean towards Mbumo. That'd probably be my ideal three. Not Mbumo, Wissa, sorry, the striker because he's a striker, right? So that'd probably be my ideal
This is
three.
Gakpo and Isaac.
And Isaac,
Cool.
potentially.
Well, and Di, that's a nice little runner.
No, not
No
doing it,
way.
man. I don't trust
It's
the Everton strikers at all. That strike force is not for me.
It's not bad. It's not a bad run. So I'm gonna keep it open.
It's
I'm gonna
not,
keep it open. But
but I don't trust him as a player.
yeah, no, I hear it. I think Jackson. Like, let's see what's happened the next couple of game weeks. Right, the Southampton Leicester seems at both home back to back seems like very tempting. Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to go there though. I think Mateta's probably ignoring Isaac. Is probably is Mateta, Visser and Gakpo. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Good though. Good fit. Good to see some fixture turns, some
nice
turnarounds.
prompt.
Now you spoke a minute ago already on this point, and it's how many midfield options there are. So I thought it was worth having a look. And to begin with, we'll touch on the
How
more expensive midfielders.
How many midfielders would you want to have in your team now?
Unlimited budget, 12. No, it's quite a few. Like every single one of these, maybe not Diaz, because he seems to have dropped off it a little
I
bit, but
I'd want to start Isaac and then everyone else is a midfielder. Like
yeah.
if I could get away with it, so I'd want six midfielders. I'd want a fair amount of players. But yeah, like midfielders are hot. There's loads and loads of options, both
Flying.
premium
Absolutely flying.
and cheaper. Like so I'm guessing on this one you're
Obviously,
excluding. What's this about, mate?
yeah,
Explain it.
Palmer's out, Salah's out, because I'm expecting people
Cool.
that'll have them. So this is then who's probably your third, maybe fourth, depending on how much you've spent on your midfield. Who's your third
So
midfield pick?
Cool. And have you picked them? What? Just they got the best expect. They've had the best expected points the last six, or there's
So here's one for you. Mbumo, appreciate you said he's pretty much now a needed player. Expected points over the last 6 game weeks, 42.48. That is the second highest expected points of any midfielder in the game just behind Salah.
Yeah, he's been
Look at that
outstanding. He's been outstanding.
Yeah, it's a goal involvement per 90, 1.02. That's as expected. That is insanely high.
He's just great. He's a great
He's on
player, and he
form.
like full stop as well. He's like really nice to watch as well. So yeah, I think
He's
Mbumo
on form.
is
Foden's third with
yeah
40.49. Now, he is massively overperforming with 57 points instead of the 40 he's been expected. But still, 0.82 expected goal involvement per 90. So he's still
yeah.
performing to a very high
Obviously,
standard.
like I think realistically, no one's going to go there, right? Because it's the price difference, and then it's like assume everyone's got Palmer, Salah, so a hell of a lot of money in your midfield, and then it's like
Yeah.
next game's Arsenal away, Newcastle, Liverpool, Spurs. So no one's bringing him in, but like he would have been the pick of midfielders like a couple of game weeks ago, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Bruno, we both got so frustrated, mate. Played 6, 1 goal, 1 assist, expected goal involvement of 0.42, basically less than half of what Mbumo's getting. But he's more expensive. But with the fixtures, because quite a few people have Fernandes now, with those fixtures, Crystal Palace are home, Ipswich are home in the next 4. Is he a hold?
I think it'd be forcing to move it. Those are okay games where like you think he would scream out getting max bonus sometime like a goal and then max bonus, right? So
Yeah.
that's the difficulty with him, right? The conundrum is what you're going to do with that money, right? It's quite expensive, right? The stats haven't been amazing; they've been okay. It's just like that team is just terrible, and it's like it can sometimes just like trick you, but he's surrounded by really bad players, and like he goes deep then because they're so bad.
Yeah.
He has to play everywhere. But like would I be desperate to move him? Ignoring the alternatives, no. Palace home, Spurs away, Everton away, Ipswich. So that's a nice little run, right? That's not bad.
So if you keep him, yeah,
That's not bad.
he can score goals.
Question is, would I move him to Mbumo if I didn't have Mbumo? Yes.
Yeah.
Question is, would I move him to a Bournemouth midfielder in isolation? Maybe if I can like do lots of interesting things with that free cash. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you, if for this game week only, if you didn't have double Liverpool defence, would you move Bruno to somebody like Diaz?
No, I reckon that'd just be a waste of a transfer.
Yeah, Diaz hasn't been great. Again, expected points is less than Bruno in the last 6 game weeks. There's goal involvement per 90 is just as bad. I say bad, like
I tell you what,
0.44 is a bad, but it's not great.
Yeah, if nothing else could fit, so I'd probably do that move actually for 1 week only.
Yeah, just for the double.
Yeah, and then
But he's not been great.
Wolves is a nice game as well. So yeah, I'd move him to Diaz as well with that pathway. Yeah, but he's a tough one here because it's like it's not a hard sell, but he's not doing anything and really prevents you doing other things. But I think I think the thing with Bruno as well, just looking medium term is like 29, which is the potential blank. United won't blank because they're playing Leicester away, and they're playing a Leicester away. So kind of that's a kind of nice player to have, right? If you
he got me 17 points in the Leicester game when I captained him in the last time he played Leicester. So
that's the
fond
sort of thing.
memories.
Obviously, you're just about missing it. You got Ipswich there, but then it's Ipswich, and then I think it's Leicester the next game. No, it's Arsenal. Yeah, Ipswich, Arsenal, which isn't great, and then I think so. Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't think it's not an urgent sell, but there's interesting options. Mbumo, great option. Diaz for that pathway. I think that's interesting. And then like those Bournemouth midfielders to start spreading the cash is interesting as well.
Bournemouth midfielders. We're going to look at the cheap mids. These are all under 7 million. I've only put 2 Bournemouth midfielders on it because we'll no doubt dive into Bournemouth on the next episode in a bit more detail. Obviously, Semenyo is an option. But for anybody, why have I left Semenyo off and I put Clivert and I put Odango? What's he called? I suppose Dango.
Utara Dango, isn't it? Utara Dango.
But the reason I've gone with these two instead of Semenyo Okay, so expected goals out of the three, Semenyo is third. For expected goal involvement per 90, he is third. And for expected points, he is third. So for that reason,
So how much expected goal involvement he's got per 90?
0.61.
Cool.
So he's not miles behind.
No. So I think I would say, so obviously you go on your screen, you got Cliver here, 0.75 expected goal involvement for the last 6 game weeks, outstanding. Dango even better, 0.84 per 90. And like, hey, it was coming, wasn't it? That hat trick was coming. We knew that. We were talking about him for a few weeks that like he's one to watch and like he's finally converted on those chances. 0.84, outstanding. Then you got Eze and Ahmad to kind of, I guess, spread out of other interesting options. Eze, yeah, pretty good, like 0.59 per 90, right, for Eze. And then 0.39 for Ahmad, the last 6 game weeks. That's okay for his price point. Semenyo, what did you say was 0.6?
0.61.
Yeah. So the 3 Bournemouth players are the best ones based on their form, their underlying stats, and of course, the fixtures coming up. I would rank them. Well, how would you rank them?
So I'm going to get, if I'm going to get one Bournemouth midfielder, which unless I take a hit, I can only afford one by the time we play Southampton. I would get Kluivert, and I'm getting him for 2 reasons. Number 1, he's on the pins.
Yeah.
And number 2, he has got the most returns. So he's got 7 returns. I appreciate that might be partly because of pins, but he's got the most returns. So he'd be number 1. Number 2, I'd probably get Dango. I think for the saving of 0.7, 0.8 million to get to Semenyo, Dango's a better option purely because he's playing up front and his expected goal involvement per 90 is better than Semenyo's. So if I'm ranking them in order, mate, Kluivert 1, Dango 2, Semenyo 3.
Yeah,
What are you
I'd go Dango. Dango's the best option.
Yeah.
Kluivert, then Semenyo. But yeah, I'd love. It's still an option. It feels like a bit wasteful, but I do have the options of trying getting both of them in if I was sacrificing Fernandez. Yeah, it's an interesting path to open that. I don't think it'd be deemed as optimal when you're like planning things out, but it seems
fun though, wouldn't it?
quite fun. Yeah, I think. Yeah, other guys. I don't think there's anyone else to really talk about. Like on that price, they're just screaming out as obvious, and I think something we've learned this year is
the only other one.
Don't overcomplicate things. I mean, both of us, when we try to overcomplicate things, it's backfired. Like, you'd be top 10k now if you just went Chris Wood.
Bloody Chris Wood. So the other one that I thought I'll just ask on: would you consider an Arsenal attacker? Trossard seems to be the top performer in the last 6 with expected goal involvement per 90 of 0.65. They've got Leicester, West Ham coming up. They've got City next, but then
I mean, like obviously you got. I trust that could be rotated.
Yeah.
What's his name? The 17-year-old is back, and he kind of did well in the Champions League. I forget his name. Guy who's playing on Saka's side. But anyway, Dango, Kluivert, Semenyo are screaming and just like right in front of you, right? So I think it's Bournemouth scoring loads of goals. They get a little bit better underlying stats, and they've got probably better. Arsenal have a nice run, but like Bournemouth have a better run. So I think let's not be blinded by names. But it's those guys.
Let's hope that they don't score this weekend.
No, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, right? But Eze is an interesting one because he's been doing good. Unfortunately, we've both got SARS, kind of the wrong option, but like different price points and kind of like whatnot. And his underlying data has been okay, at least over the like longer term as well. But Eze is a tough one. I don't think you can kind of move confidently from Eze with that run. He feels like it's not broken, don't force it. It might feel a bit like you're forcing it if you're jumping from him to a Bournemouth player, unless you're going to do an extra with that million. If you're switching to him to Kluivert, you're saving $1 million. So you can do some upgrades then with that. But like, I think he'd be a hold. But again, like one of the annoying holds like Bruno.
Yeah. Whereas Sarr, would you quite happily sell him for a Kluivert?
Oh yeah, no regrets. Yeah, he's going this week for me. Pretty sure. Well, We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
We'll see. But like, I think I'll be moving him.
Well, we'll see very shortly. Well, first, we're looking at captain choice. This will be a very quick section, Matt, because we've already seen the expected points for Gaming 24, although it does now include some non-Liverpool players. Palmer's in fourth. But let's not beat about the bush. It's going to be Mo Salah. Expected points of 13.5, way ahead of everybody else. I'm assuming, don't even think about it, just give him the armband. The question
Who's
is,
your vice
mate,
going to be? Who's your vice? Because you've got Allison and Alexander
in
Arnold.
Trent, my vice is going to probably, I think at the minute it's on Palmer, but it'll end up being on Trent.
If you had Gakpo, would it still be Trent? Yeah.
If I had Gakpo, it'd be Gakpo, but I don't. So it's going to be Trent.
Yeah, agreed.
Purely because the guy's the best passer in the league. The guy he can get assists.
Agreed. Like, let's give the people what they want. Done. Let's not force the
Done.
debate.
Triple captain, yes or no?
Yeah, a 13.5
Yep.
is I think that's probably fair. Like if I was like guessing how many expected points, I'd say about between 13 and 14. So it's not the biggest number you'll see, but yeah, take it, embrace it.
Yeah, I'm with
You're
you.
running out of
I'm
options
with
as
you.
well. I don't want to use it in a
Exactly.
single game week. So I think we've gone through that logic earlier. Why you're gonna if you don't start using chips, you're gonna run out of a good chance to use it. So yeah, use it, embrace it.
Get it on them. I agree, and hopefully he bags a few. But we're going to go on to team reveals. You were just
Right.
teasing it, Matt. Potential
Oh,
sale
can I be
of
annoying? Can we
Star?
start with yours so I can think through what I want
No,
to do?
absolutely not. Absolutely not, pal. I can
And I'm
jump on mine
intrigued.
first.
I'm intrigued because you were saying, hey, you were like saying very knowingly
A
what
couple.
you're going to do.
Yeah, got a couple. So I've got two. I've got two transfers. 1.3 million in the bank, so a bit to spend.
Yep.
Me, I don't think I'm going to do B. I've noted for those that are listening. Fernandez to Bruno is a move. Pedro to NDA is a move. I could do both, or Pedro could become Wissa. What I'm likely to do at the minute is Fernandez to Mbumo and Pedro to Wissa. So that'll be then I'll bench Sar. So for those listening, that'll mean I've got a starting team of Becker in goal, double game week, Trent double game week, Aina at home to Brighton, and then Mikalenko for his double game week. That'll be the defence. Across the midfield, I'd have Rodgers away at Wolves, Palmer away, at home to West Ham. I'd have Mbumo at home to Tottenham, and then triple captain on Mo Salah for his double. And then I'd have an attack: Wissa at home to Tottenham, Delap at home to Southampton, and Isaac at home to Fulham. I'd be quite happy with that team. And then bench the three that are on the bench there, which is Gabriel because he's got City, and then Robinson's away at Newcastle, and Pedro's away at one of the best defences, Nottingham Forest. So they just sit on the bench quite happily.
So you are option C then. So that is you moving.
So I'd do A and D, annoyingly, just to confuse you, I'd do A and D. So Fernandez to Mbumo, Pedro to Wissa, and that'd mean I'm benching Sar.
Okay.
Because I'd want to
And
play
then
Wissa.
presumably Sar moves to Bangor
Bournemouth play
Clive.
next week. Correct. And potentially even Rodgers if I want to take a hit, but it depends on who Villa are playing.
Cool.
Go on.
They're all good options, I think.
I don't trust Everton. So it'd be Wissa. It'd definitely be Wissa.
So
What do you think about benching Sar?
Yeah, no issues there. Like, yeah,
Okay.
easy. Sar's not won't be a great option. I think your bench is right. You could go Pedro and Di, which would mean you've got 2 free transfers next week, but that means that you won't be able to get Vissa and Mbumo and a Bournemouth player, which is what you want to be targeting. No, fair enough.
Exactly.
They need I like all the options. I think you're targeting a similar group of players. To me, yeah, do whatever you feel is the best essentially.
Yeah. I think Wissa in one game against Tottenham at home can outscore NDI across both game weeks. I think he can. I think he only needs to. For me, Wissa scores one. I don't see NDI scoring twice.
Nah, I mean, well, NDI is starting with like 4 points, and then of course, like any return then bumps that to double digits, right? And he is on penalties, right? So I think he's playing Leicester, so I think at home.
Yeah, don't you pick Tottenham? You have to pick Tottenham.
I'd say, yeah, if you're comparing like for like, without looking at longer term stuff, like NDI will have better expected points than this 1 week only for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is better.
Like long-term planning, mate. Long-term planning. That's what I'm going
yeah,
for.
the question is like, is NDI going to score more than 4 points than Visser? That's a bit tighter. I think probably maybe just, but like, yeah, it depends what you want your long-term structure to be. More interesting one. If you want to do, so like, yeah, all the options and combos, what would you do if you were to do one move only?
One move only, I would do. If I was to do one, I'd probably do Pedro to Wissa and bench Sar and leave Bruno in.
I think yeah, you'd making the Pedro move to bench Sar is probably more interesting than Fernandez and Bruno in its own right. Agree.
Yeah, it's whether I do both. Would you do both, or would you just do the one?
I don't know.
Tough, innit? It's a tough one.
Yeah, lots of things. I mean, again, I think it feels like a bit forceful. It's not like the Palace at home isn't the worst fixture.
No.
Spurs at home is
but
good
one.
fixture, but like, yeah, Brentford aren't going to hammer them 4-0. You'd think, right? So I think, yeah, not forcing transfers is always a good thing. A lot can happen over a week.
Yeah, I just know I'll want Mbumo the game week after anyway, so it's like I'll just do it now. But I might not.
Get injured,
but yeah, true. That's a good point. That's a fair point. So yeah, I think D and B my first transfer, but yeah, very tempted to do A as well.
Yeah, if I was doing one, I'd do your Pedro moves and yeah, kind of like good riddance to him. I like your commentary on captain, triple captain, likely to be played on Salah.
Likely to be played. Very, very much 99.9, unless Salah gets injured between now and the deadline. 99.99% is going to be Salah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
you've
had time to think.
So I've made I have 3 free transfers going into game week 24. I've made a move already to beat price change. So I moved Flecken to Pickford. I'm just reason by that I'm a sucker for a double game week goalkeeper. Like historically, otherwise it might be just biased, but historically I always remember them scoring really well, like guaranteed 90 minutes, and like one of them always scores well. So yeah. Kind of like I like Pickford for like save points, 2 home games, and Evans got an okay defensive run coming up as well. So he's a nice set and forget keeper, which is something I need with Fabianski being dropped now. Flecken is a bit more up and down despite good fixtures. I'm kind of more comfortable being with Pickford, so happy with that move. Rest of my team then is Canate with a double, Colwell at West Ham, Trent with a double, of course, Palmer, Salah triple captain with his double, Sar and Bruno Fernandez, João Pedro and Isaac. So, yeah, 3 Liverpool players and 1 Everton at the moment. I've got 2 free transfers still to play. So, it's a whole host of players that are on my bench that I don't, not bench, but like are on the chopping block, should I say, that I don't really like having, right? So, I don't like having Sar. Yeah. I don't like having João Pedro. I don't like having Stewart as a non-playing 4.5 million striker, and like, yeah, that's gonna be an issue come game week 29, right? You want like, yeah, maximum people playing. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Fernandez kind of moving forward. I've kind of made my bed there. Colwell, it's the smart move you would say for Chelsea's to keep them, given they got that nice run, but I just can't trust that defense. And Colwell does nothing in attack, right? So they have like a Southampton, Leicester back-to-back at home. That's great. I don't think it's great for Colwell because I still think his ceiling would be 6 points, and most likely I'd be surprised if they get one clean sheet out of those 2. So yeah, I don't like Colwell. So I've got a few problems, a few options, right? So players I like for this week are DI, right, from Everton. Vizza, mentioned kind of him. Dango, Clive, and then Decore, kind of reluctantly, and then Mikalenko, right? So yeah, the 2 free transfers, I could do any combo of them, right? So let's do a wild one. I could do Sar Sarr to Decore or Sarr to Dango.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the midfielders in Everton be so bad. I'd have to go Dango straight away, right? And
Would you
then
do that ahead of Liverpool? I know he's at home and Bournemouth are playing well, but would you do that ahead of Liverpool game?
I don't like. He's so cheap. It's in a neighbour as well, right? So if I'm bringing him in, it's to free up cash, right? So like,
Yeah.
um,
I'm playing. I don't know how
not
much cash you've got in the bank, mate. What are you
yeah, like
playing
none,
with?
like not much. So like
Okay.
if I was moving,
Yeah.
like so yeah, if I like one move would be Sarr to Decore or Sarr to Dango, and then with that money I could move Stewart to
Mhm.
Ndi. So change my setup there, so I have another double game week player and
Bench Pedro, I assume.
yeah, just I benched Pedro. So I think that's an upgrade.
Yeah.
All in all, I'd say Dango has a better expected points versus Sarr this coming week. Decoy certainly would, because obviously he plays 2 game weeks, but he's shown nothing. That's what I'm saying. If McNeil was there, I'd be like, go McNeil, happy days. But like, I was thinking this line for Decore for a while, but like it seems like it's not really viable. Really, Decore would be a player I'd be wanting to get away ASAP. So I'm really booking a transfer next week. If I brought in Decore this week, you'd be going Dango next week straight away, and I may get
Yeah.
outpriced. So that's an option where I go Ndiaye for Stewart and then Dango or Decore for Sarr. I could go Cole to Mikalenko and call it quits.
Mhm.
Just sit. Right. I
Yeah.
could go Saar down to Tango or Ducore again, and then move João Pedro to Visa,
Yeah.
which I like, yeah, because I don't like João Pedro and I like Visa kind of like long term. And then I could do Cole to Mikalenko, João Pedro to Ndiaye, right? And then kind of like see what happens. So I've got lots of different pathways. So I'm kind of like really unsure at the moment.
Yeah. Options.
Yeah,
If you
I'm
were
sure.
picking
I think
now,
if you to put a gun to my head,
yeah.
I'd probably say it's really tough actually. I'd say because I'm thinking of like I want this. I want to sort out some of the striker problems now. So I think it would be
So Finny,
maybe in DI and for João Pedro and like
you've got a lot more faith in him than I have.
and
Tell
then
you that much.
Dango for Sarr, and that's done. Or maybe I just like ignore Dango for the time being, and then kind of revisit, and then I've got the option that I can move in DI straight away to Visa, and
Yeah.
then bring in Dango next week. Um,
Yeah.
it's tough. I've yeah, like
Yeah.
obviously there's like I've got a short list of players, so I'm gonna get rid of the short list of players I'm targeting, but like all sorts of combos with different ramifications. I think what I don't want to do
Yeah.
is snooker myself out of Brentford and Bournemouth players kind of like immediately next week, right? So I think like a really bad option would probably be like Sarta, Decore, Stewart, and Di, right? Which
Yeah.
probably would be optimal in a lot of the like algorithms because it gets rid of a non-playing player in Stewart. But then I'm like, how do I get a Visa? I can't really get a Visa without making a hit to get rid of Bruno Fernandes. And I've got Decore, which like no one wants him in and around your team, right? So I'm just gonna make sure I'm not foolish. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know at the moment. I could just be like, could be super boring, be like, Colwell to Mikalenko.
And then at least you've got rid of Colwell because I know you don't like him. You haven't liked him for a long time.
Yeah. Now I've got extra double there. I'll be making one move. I won't. I'm pretty sure I won't roll it. I'll be doing one of these moves. João Pedro and Di.
But you roll
Cole to
one.
Mikalenko. Yeah.
But you roll one transfer, or you use the 2 remaining.
Yeah, I could use if I was rolling one. What I would do is Cole to Mikalenko
Yeah.
or Pedro to Ndi. So if I'm Mikalenko, that it's kind of a nice move because like structurally it works with the team, like, and I know Colwell's probably got some nice fixtures, but really I'd be playing Trent, Canate, Gabriel most weeks, and Mikolenko can and Vanderberg, sorry, from Brentford can chip in. Then I've got 2 free transfers the following week. So I'd go into Dango. João Pedro would go to Visa. So that's kind of quite nice. I just need to check the numbers, how tight that would be. But like that's quite a nice little pathway because next week I'll have a team that I want.
Yeah. We'll find out.
It could go India. It could go India, João Pedro, India, and then again it would be the same. It would be Sada, Dango, and then feels a bit wasteful, but yeah, India straight out to Visa.
Yeah, this is why I don't want NDI. I just know I'm going to sell them straight off the bat. So I just don't want
we
to
do have
this.
I mean, I think we were having this debate over text, weren't we? Is that like
we've
got 5 free transfers now, so like transfers are probably a little less valuable than they were historically, and also a couple of weeks ago you were messing about with defenders, just moving in luxury defenders every single week.
Yeah, he's planning all about Robinson and Aina. I've had Aina since game week 1. I didn't transfer him in, to be fair. Who did you transfer in? Trent.
So I
can't remember.
I mean, I'm not. There's a bit of a sunk cost now. I don't hate if I bring a player for 1 week and bring them out the next week, then so be it.
Never liked it. I've like minimum 3-4 weeks planned sort of person, but you finished in the top 10K 6 times.
The ones I want medium. The only players I want medium long term now are like Brentford attacker, Bournemouth attacker, right? So like whatever blend I'm going, I'm going to be able to get one in anyway. So it's just like, do I think Mikolenko scores more points if I'm going with that one player? Does Mikolenko score more than Colwell versus India and João Pedro? What would you say?
No.
It's tight, isn't it?
Whichever one. Yeah. I reckon Mikolenko gets more points than no, I don't. I think Everton will concede twice.
Sorry, concede 2 points.
Both games. Yeah. Pedro, but I don't see Pedro doing anything.
Yeah, so
I think Mikolenko will probably get 4.
Yeah. India's expected points will be what? 6 or 7?
4. Yeah. I reckon he'll get maybe 8. 1 goal.
Colwell will get what? Expected points 3.
Yeah, they'll concede. They always concede. So 10. Probably 10 points for the team.
Expected points what? 5? 6?
And Pedro 3. So I suppose expected points wise, it probably does make sense to do it. But then you've got 3 Everton players.
No, I'd have 2, wouldn't I? Pickford and I won't.
You only do one or the other. You just do
I'm just saying theoretically to I've not blocked myself to make sure I can get Visser and Bournemouth mid.
Look forward to seeing what you decide, Matt, because you're in a quandary. I look forward to seeing how you get out of it.
Sorry for everyone watching. Listen, that was probably like a terrible. Listen,
I'm making this a section on its own, right?
When is the deadline, anyways? It's not a Friday deadline, is it?
No. Saturday. Saturday deadline.
Start of 6 Nations rugby tomorrow, and like I have a fantasy game for that as well, so I need to plan my team.
Double check, but I'm pretty sure it's Saturday at 11. But whilst you look, I'm going to chat us through the mini league because we do have an update because we have a new leader. Nathan has jumped to the top of the league. Wow. 74 points for the game week, meaning he is ahead of Jonas by 3 points. 1550 in total. Picked up 76 points, or 74 points, should I say, thanks to a double Arsenal defence, Raya and Gabriel. Also, the Bournemouth players coming through from 9 points from Semenyo, Kerkez with a clean sheet. So very nice score overall. 1550 takes Nathan to 9,617th in the world. Top 10K, Nathan. Well done to you. Unfortunately for me, the David Saunders in 10th with Sorry Nick Jackson is not me. It's another David Saunders who is beating me by 38 points. I'm in 22nd. And Matt, you are in 53rd. So that's where we're at. There's 83 in the league.
Dave Saunders of a Nick Jackson kind. I think they must have gone Chris Wood. I remember you were
Yeah,
like a few points above them, right? Look how you
I
just like
was. I
diverged since
was.
that.
Snuck
Oh
in,
well.
snuck into the top 10 for one game week, and FPL Dave, who's Dave Saunders, was like, finally, and then he's been better than me ever since. So we'll move on. We'll move on from this one. On to question of the week, mate. This is a bit of a new feature, but I got text by a long time listener, Joey P. Hope you're listening, Joey. Getting your question in. He's been with us pretty much since episode 1. So he messaged me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and he's got a question for you, mate. For the next 2 game weeks, what he wants to know is: would you go Wissa Mbumo Kanate
Yeah.
or Gakpo Kluivert and Hall for game week 24, swapping Hall for Kerkez in game week 25? I'm assuming that's via a transfer and not that
Yeah.
Kerkez is on his bench in game week 24.
Yeah. We'll assume it's a transfer. Oh, that's a tough one, right?
Mm.
So we are comparing on one side strikers Visa versus Gakpo. Visa's got Spurs, right? Gakpo's obviously got the double.
Yeah.
And Bumo versus Kluivert. Kluivert's got Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
And Bumo has got Spurs. And then Kanate with his double. And then Hall versus Fulham. I'm going to say, I think it's a really conversation. It's like floor and ceiling, right?
Yeah.
So I reckon team 1 has the higher floor, the Visit and Bumo Kanate. Gakpo Kluivert's floor probably has a higher ceiling purely for Gakpo's existence there, right? But I'm kind of conservative. I'd go team 1. I think we'll just about score more points game week 24, and also it's got the added benefit that you're not banking in a
Transfer.
transfer. But yeah, I'd be looking at
Yeah.
a way to get in Kluivert and the likes in game week 25.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd have to agree. Somebody that's literally just said, I'm probably going to buy Wissam and Mbumo this week. I'd be stupid if I didn't agree, right? So I think I'd have to follow your lead with that
Oh,
one.
you can't. I mean, neither of us can buy Gakpo, like so. Yeah.
No, true. It's a good point. Yeah. But I do like Wissam and Mbumo long term. But there you go, Joey. There you go, Joey. Thanks for being such a long time listener, by the way, mate. I know you also like and repost my Twitter when I mention the episodes out. So yeah, thank you for your support. Finishing off with Matt versus Dave. You might not want to, mate, because
Oh,
Soberslay came to my rescue.
yeah.
I felt when you picked KDB and Son, I was like, what am I doing? I went first, and I picked Soberslay when KDB and Son were both available. But luckily for me, Soberslay came with a goal, an assist, went off before Ipswich scored, so got a clean sheet, and also picked up 2 bonus points, giving him 13 points in total, along with Bruno Guimaraes for me with 2, taking me to 15. KDB and Son combined for you to get 3 points
Oh,
only.
shocking.
So
What?
yeah, a little
I'm trying
win
to
for
look at
me.
what was De Bruyne doing? Like, yeah, he played 16 minutes. That's why.
Yeah, benched
um,
benched him. But 15
wow.
points for me, 3 points for you, giving me now a lead of 10-8. But you do, in Game Week 24, get to pick first, and we had the conversation beforehand. Double Game Week scores absolutely count.
Cool. Well, we got good Liverpool and Everton players, right? So, yeah, me first. I think I'm going to steal your option for last week. Why not Szoboszlai? I'll go for
Yeah.
him. He's still
Guy's on
what
form.
3% owned or something like that. So,
Guy is on form. He's flying. I'd have picked him if you didn't. So, unfortunately
yeah,
for me, you did. Now, for me, I've been slagging him off all episode. Absolutely berating the guy. Don't rate him. Don't rate the Everton attack. But he's 3.8% owned. He scored 2 in 2 and he's on pens and he's got a double game week. I'll pick NDI. And,
DI,
and then
nice,
at least
nice,
if he
nice.
scores, at least I'll get some points for this.
Not like it. No, I would have gone him second as well. So yeah, again,
Mm.
we were getting very boring, aren't we? We're just like it's we're all honing in the same players, which I guess is like yeah,
Yeah, because I know who
again.
your third's going to be, and it was probably going to be my third.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go Robbo, right? So I know he's had a bit of rotation. He's like 4% owned now, but I think for the gap between these games, he's gonna play both. Simicast will play the European fixtures, cup fixtures in between. So yeah, I'll go Robertson.
Yeah, I think your good news there is Robinson did start yesterday, but he came off. Whereas Simicast played 90, so you've got to think probably was going to get the start at the weekend. Mates, I hate every other option, by the way, for Liverpool and Everton. I'm not getting an Everton defender. I'm not going to pick up a Liverpool defender because only Robinson's under 5% guaranteed to start. And I don't believe in McAllister enough. So I'm going away from both of those clubs, mate.
No,
I'm going
no way.
I'm going away from those clubs. I am targeting West Ham at home, Chelsea player, 4.4% owned, scored 2 in 2. The reason I rarely like him in his last 3 game weeks, expected goal involvement of 0.99 per game. Majuka. He's starting again, and he's scoring, and the stats are backing him up.
I think you're right. There's not many other double game week options that are like massively appealing, right? I think if you're talking Everton, you can watch Tarkowski is probably the next.
Yeah, which God zero. That doesn't fill me with any fun.
I would have considered maybe McAllister, maybe, but yeah, okay. Madueke is. I get it. I mean, I'll have a look at the fixtures myself. Who would I pick if I was going a single game week player? I didn't really.
The issue with McAllister, just on that, is he's had 5 returns all season. He plays. I know Gravenberch is the defensive hold midfielder for Liverpool, but in tough games, McAllister seems to drop a bit more, and Szoboszlai is very much the attacking midfielder. And Bournemouth away and Everton away, they're not easy games. So I just don't see McAllister being in the attacking positions I'd want him to be.
I hear you. It's a really tough run of games, right? Mainly because Everton playing Leicester and Ipswich are playing Southampton. So those weaker teams that you'd target are just playing each other. Who would I?
You'd get the lap. You'd get the lap, surely. The guy's going to come good. He's going to.
No. I think it would be Delap. I'm just seeing what Villa players are like. Lower and Watkins is 17%. Yeah, I'd probably go Delap. Yeah.
Talking about Villa players, number 1, Duran got a hat trick. Sorry, Rogers got a hat trick. Shame it was in Europe. Yeah. But Duran going to Saudi Arabia apparently 77 million. Sorry, 70 odd million. That was
and Matoma as well. Yeah,
Matoma for 90 million.
Few moves. I mean, not too FPL relevant because like beyond like a 2 game week window where it was like Watkins was out of form. Like I mean, he's never fantasy relevant, right? And Watkins was always getting the minutes. But interesting stuff. Yeah. Villa just really haven't been that relevant, have they?
No, not really. Just Watkins has done all right.
Low key, it's kind of like there's been ebbs and flows, but I think it hasn't been dominant like last year, and I think the price point has been a bit restrictive, and kind of Rogers has been a bit of a stalwart, but he hasn't been. We just scored a hat trick in Europe, like in the Champions League this week, but hasn't been amazing. And I think there's Jordan Pierce this year. There's just been outstanding cheap midfielders, right?
Yeah. Like this is it. Would you rather have Rogers now, or would you rather have a Kluivert, Semenyo sort of option?
Well, Dango's the best one.
Dango. So you'd have those players.
You'd go there. Like I think you'd even consider Ahmad, right?
Okay. Yeah. Seems to be another hat trick scorer of recent weeks. Quite happy that was something that did go off this game week. Obviously, he scored late on in the game against Fulham, and
I'm just looking at
fuming about with that. Luckily, he got ruled out.
Yeah, he's been playing well, but very fortunate. I don't think it's sustainable, but like he's performing as good, if not better than think. But interestingly, top midfielders, there's a lot of cheap ones, right? So Salah, Palmer, and Bumo, of course, top 3. Then it's Kluivert, 4th overall, 5.7 mil. Saka, Gordon, right? Then it's Iwobi, which like feels like he just scores all his points in 5.8 mil, 105 points. Then it's Ahmad, crazy, right? 5.6, 105. Then you got Diaz and Fernandez, 103 points at 7.5, 8.4. Maddison next, right? Then it's Semenyo 5.6 mil, 100 points. Madueke 6.1, 97. Rogers 5.6, 96 kind of points. So you're all these cheap players performing really well, right? Bruno is a bit of a letdown there, and you're looking at some of the names around.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go to Mbumo from him and just take the pain when he scores 2 against Crystal Palace.
He's very good, and he's very, very good.
Yeah, that's where we're at. So Szoboszlai and Robertson, double Liverpool for you. I've got no Liverpool, even as a Liverpool fan. 0 Liverpool players, but in the eye for his double, and then Madueke through lack of options from Liverpool and Everton to finish off the double game week picks. But I've got faith. I think Madueke is probably going to outscore NDI, if I'm honest. So, but yeah, there we are. There we are. Let's see if it's either 11-8 or 10-9. And that brings us to a close, Matt. Bit of a different order this week. Do the main bulk of the game week at the front, and then follow it up with our league and Matt versus Dave, which maybe only interests me and you, our competition with each other. I don't know. I don't know whether other people even bothered.
Well, they can log up early. Put it back.
Now it's at the back. Now it's at the back. They can leave whenever they want to.
Big thank you. I think a lot of good schedule, good content, thought provoking. So liked it.
Yeah.
Liked it.
Looking forward to next week. See which
and
Bournemouth players we're gonna jump on. But from the sounds of it, we're both gonna have Mbumo and Wissa, and then I'll probably have Clivert and you'll have Dango. That'll be the difference.
Yeah. Wow. Not much. Again, it's kind of a bit boring.
But still tune in, please. Still tune in, because I'm sure we'll compare the Bournemouth players in more detail. So you'll help you make your decision as well.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what's the difference between Pickford and Allison.
Yeah.
What, Mikalenko and Colwell maybe.
Canate. I think it's going to be Aina versus Colwell. Mikalenko versus Canate.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff. Stay tuned.
Aina, time to get another 15 points. That's what I'm waiting for. But yeah, appreciate your time, Matt. The next game week doesn't kick off for another week after this one, because we've got the double, the FA Cup, should I say, in between. So, but I'm sure we'll pick up prior to the 14th. So that is a Friday, just to pre-warn you, mate. So not next Friday, but the Friday after is the game.
That is a reason to bank our transfers, though, right? FA Cup games, big gap, lots of training,
big gap.
Injuries could happen, but yeah, nice little break then. I don't. We'll form a view whether we chat or not, whether we just do it in one go. I think.
That will work. We'll work
maybe
it
do
out.
It, maybe do it one go closer rather than doing a preliminary gap one. Maybe we'll do it a week before the following game, but we'll work it out.
Yeah. But absolutely.
I mean, I do want you to remember this, though, I reckon, for your intro. So
all right.
It does cringe me. I do feel embarrassing and a bit cringy when you kind of give all those kudos, those historical kudos to me. So I reckon, we'll say this is the first. What's it? This is still the only podcast or whatever you want to call it, YouTube channel that we had an early game week 1 adopter of Aina. So let's make that
the sort of content.
Let's make that
sort of brains I've got.
Reason to be famous. Yeah. That's something to be proud of. That early adoption.
Still the only person
who the #1 scoring defender in the game.
Is he? Hey, see that? Talent, planning, knowledge. That's what that is.
Still the only place that was an early adopter and a game week 1 adopter of
game week 1 of the highest
FPL defender in the game.
Didn't realise he was top. That's
one
interesting.
Point. We probably can't use it next week because Trent is 1 point behind him. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably gone. But
let's embrace that.
I'll take it.
You've got history. Aina this year. Last year you went for what's his name, Matty Cash.
Went off. I've
got
to get some decent defenders picks.
Killing it at the beginning of the season, then you kind of taper off a bit. But again, lots of crap that we share, but there's a few gems.
Yeah, there is. A couple of. I'll stick with. To tell you what, if anybody listening, pick my defenders and pick Matt's attackers. Maybe that's the way to do it. I think you'll get a good combination.
Yeah, I reckon it's pick your defenders, and then when you're making some exotic decision, just ignore it.
Yeah, that does happen. That does happen. It's probably not a bad shout. um, but on that point, Matt, nice for you to join us. I'll catch up with you next week, mate. Enjoy the headache you've got of which two players you bring in, or one, depending on how many of them you use. I do not
Yeah.
envy you at all.
Tough. But yeah, I'll yeah, down to the wire for me. But I think it's the same for you as well, right? Lots of
Yeah.
options. So yeah,
Yeah, I think I'm
we shall
set,
see.
but we'll see. But yeah, appreciate your time, and I'll catch you next week, mate. And yeah, to you, the listener, thank you for joining us. Remember, this is still the only podcast in which the one player has had Aina, the top scoring defender, since game week 1. So please join us next week. If you have enjoyed it and you have learned something, please do click the like button, click the subscribe button. It helps us get seen by others. And it's free to do, and it just helps. It makes me and Matt feel good about it, right? So please do that if you haven't. Otherwise, um, otherwise nothing. Just please do it. But whatever you do this game week, all the best with it. May your arrows be green, and we'll catch you next week.